Skinwalker, formerly located in the United States of America, has a long and troubled history. According to legends passed down by the Native American tribes for 15 generations or more, the Walker Trail passed through this area. The local folklore describes a sorcerer who was a werewolf, and the native people avoided taking food from the lands in question. Approximately 400 anomalous events have been documented, but there are likely many more. In 1994, the Sherman family acquired the property with the intention of raising Scott. Upon arrival, they found all the necessary conditions in place. There was good pasture land with a water source and several small groves. Prior to their arrival, there was only a single road leading to the property. There was no alternative means of access or egress. The new owners were initially perplexed by the presence of numerous locks and bolts on doors and even furniture, as well as the fact that Chulan appeared to be locked from the inside. Metal poles with heavy chains surrounded the house, and according to neighbors, previous residents had used these chains to keep large, aggressive dogs. This did not immediately raise concerns for the Shermans, as they assumed that the chains were merely a precautionary measure. However, what alerted them to potential issues was the presence of strange circular patterns in the grass fields. Despite this, no one could determine how or who was responsible for these patterns. After all, any visitor could not avoid the only path, and it was clearly visible from everywhere. Shortly thereafter, a large wolf appeared. It was not at all frightened of people and acted like a domesticated dog. It was raining, and the animals first smelled like wet dog. After meeting the Shermans, the wolf went to the pen and seized the calf. The owners began beating it with sticks, but it did not release its prey. Then, Sherman shot it at close range with a gun, but no blood or wounds were visible. The animal simply backed away, holding the calf firmly. Only after firing 6 shots, which knocked out a piece of skin and flesh, did the wolf disappear into the marshy thickets. When the men followed its tracks, they found that in one area they broke off, as if the wolf had vanished into thin air. The piece of wolf flesh knocked out by the shot gave off a smell of decay. According to cryptozoological experts, the creature in appearance resembled a wolf that inhabited the area during the Pleistocene era. Over the course of the next 2 years, the Sherman family, as well as their neighbors, reported sightings of similar animals in other parts of the country. On one occasion, a small but muscular creature covered in reddish fur was observed. It attacked a horse with its fur and claws, leaving wounds on its legs. When approached by people, the creature disappeared, leaving only the wounds as evidence of its presence. Additionally, the residents had previously reported sightings of brightly colored birds and large creatures resembling Bigfoot, as well as hearing ominous noises and smelling unpleasant odors of decaying flesh. These reports attracted a number of curious individuals. One such visitor began to meditate in the middle of a field, when he suddenly noticed a large, translucent creature moving towards him. The creature let out a terrifying roar as it approached. The frightened mediator fled and never returned to those locations. Meanwhile, unusual events continued at the ranch. At night, the area around the ranch was illuminated as if it were a football field, with lights coming from nowhere and sounds heard from underground. It seemed as if powerful machinery was operating there, and later Sherman discovered a perfectly shaped hole. Someone removed the earth and disappeared in an unknown direction. Occasionally, luminous objects of different shapes appeared in the sky above the ranch. One resembled a refrigerator with a red light on its door, another was a cigar-shaped object, a third was a sombrero, and a fourth was a black triangle. Occasionally, a cloud would appear and lights would flash within it, as if something were exploding. One day, such a strange object landed on the ground, and in the light from its lights, the Shermans saw a huge human figure wearing dark clothing and protective masks over its face. However, most importantly, the residents of the ranch were terrified by luminous orbs that flew dangerously close to their residences and apparently showed a particular interest in animals. They hovered in front of horses and cattle, causing great anxiety and fear among the people. In the spring of 1996, Sherman decided to investigate one such orb. He deployed 3 of his dogs against the object. Experts believe that the animal was slaughtered using 2 instruments, which may have resembled machetes or scissors. Additionally, we can say that on several occasions, the door at the ranch was opened, and at other times, a faint light appeared, followed by the opening of a tunnel above ground. A dark-skinned man emerged from it, and the tunnel then disappeared. However, it was once again not possible to capture photographs or video evidence due to the fact that the film had been exposed and someone had removed the wires from hidden cameras. Occasionally, something unseen would rush into a group of cows, separating them into two groups. At times, the water in streams would become turbulent, as if something were moving through it. The musky scent of something could be heard, but there was never anyone visible. In the year 2008, Dr. Bigalu decided to discontinue research at the ranch, believing that science was not yet prepared to solve these mysterious occurrences. There was still no answer to the question of responsible for the anomalies, and therefore put forward a condition that the Sherman family continue to work on the ranch. Meanwhile, strange flying objects continued to appear in the sky. Skinwalker was only able to take photographs of them, but for some reason he could not approach them. The deaths of livestock also continued unabated. One evening, the dogs gathered around a tree near the house, barking loudly. When people approached, they saw something on the tree. It resembled an ancient reptile with something that looked like a dog's head and muscular limbs. They opened fire, shooting at the creatures from a distance of approximately 35 yards, which was not difficult due to their size. After shooting, the creatures disappeared, and the object on the tree fell to the ground. However, when people searched the area, they found nothing except for a three-toed impression that resembled a dinosaur footprint. Soon after, another calf was discovered dead, and again, there was no sign of blood. Livestock. Finally, an incredible event occurred. Sherman discovered 4 of his large bulls in a metal trailer located in the yard. It is unclear how the bulls came to be there. Additionally, the trailer was locked with a bolt, yet that was not the only strange occurrence. Ghostly apparitions appeared in the home on several occasions. Dark entities looked through the windows at night, and furniture and other objects seemed to move around the home by themselves or simply disappear. Doors slammed as if from drafts. The entire family experienced the same nightmare on multiple occasions. The Shermans decided to sell the ranch. On the last night prior to the move, they slept particularly soundly, only to wake up the next morning to find blood covering them in bed and marks on the thumb of each of their right hands, as if blood had been drawn for analysis. The new owner acquired the property for a minimal fee of $200,000. He was a multimillionaire from Las Vegas named Robert Bigelow, who was interested in various anomalous phenomena. He ensured a constant presence of scientific personnel and police on the ranch. Visitors were strictly prohibited from entering the property. Bigelow suspected that the previous owners may have been seemingly controlled by an unknown force, skillfully evaded the dogs' attempts to attack. At some point, the dogs, excited by the chase, vanished into the bushes. Their yelps were heard, but then all fell silent. The following day, Sherman discovered what remained of the dogs: 3 burned circles on the ground filled with a dark, oily substance. Gradually, Sherman's cow herd began to dwindle from 80 to 40. He also owned 4 elite bulls, each weighing approximately a ton. However, what was occurring at the ranch caused significant damage to his operation. One day, a farmer discovered a dead cow, which had a hole in its eye socket that was shaped like a regular circle. There was no sign of blood, but the body gave off a strong musky smell that even scavengers avoided. The second cow soon died, with the hole extending to the center of its brain. These injuries were not consistent with those caused by wild animals. The farmer's dogs became afraid to leave their pens, even for food, and all the cats on the farm vanished. Scott then began to go missing without a trace, causing the farmer to lose 14 heads of